Disclaimer, this is the part where you're going to see me undressing, so if you stumbled upon this by accident and you're not looking to see the before and after of tummy tuck, that's the disclaimer. So let's do this. All right. So I am officially 1 week post-op. I got out of the hospital or surgical center 3 p.m. last week. So this is a little bit longer than that week period. The swelling the first couple days was insanely intense. It was absolutely everywhere. It was from the groin all the way up to pretty much my chest. It looked horrible. I anticipated swelling. People said on the message boards, hey, you're gonna blow up. Don't freak out. It's hard not to. I've never seen that amount of swelling in my entire life. Just imagine it being encompassed over your entire stomach. So this is, again, 1 week after. All right. I am incredibly swollen still. This right here is numb. I can't feel this at all. I get a little bit more sensation towards the belly button, but nothing right here. A little bit along this incision line. This is going to go down. Horizontal. This is everything below pretty much my mid-chest. That's still swelling. You can see, I think right here, we can just start to see a little bit of maybe a little bit of a rib. Everything down is still swollen. I had it extended, and this is where the drainage port comes in from this side. So extended tummy tuck is when they wrap around the incision to include your hips. The way they do this procedure is that you're going to be lying on your back, and this surgeon is going to cut open in a normal tummy tuck, hip to hip. I wanted the extended. At first, when we did the pre-op appointment, the initial consultation, he didn't recommend the extended scar. He said he didn't feel like it would be worth it. I told him at that point I plan on losing a couple more pounds because it really accentuates the loose skin once you get started to really lean towards lower levels of body fat. Right now, I would estimate that I'm probably at around maybe 13, 14%. If I do a little arm pump, I can get some vascularity out of my arms right now, which has always been a good indicator because you can't tell where you are body fat percentage-wise with loose skin in areas that are affected by it. And my loose skin was, pretty much from the top of right from the sternum all the way down, into and past the groin. What the tummy tuck did for me was lifted everything up. Everything, including the thigh looseness that I had. Most of my stretching was actually in this area right here. You can kind of see because of the bruising, I don't want to torque it too much, but you can kind of see this is where the majority of my stretch marks were. The procedure that I got done was the extended, and the surgeon also did liposuction of the flanks, which is why you see all the bruising back here. There's 2 little ports where everything was lipoed. This area has regained sensation. It's still a little numb, but it feels a whole lot better than what it was before. And that swelling was also intense. I don't think I have a picture of that, but I would love to show you if I do. I'm going to try to tuck this a little bit lower without overextending the drain ports. One reason I'm able to stand up straight right now is because When you have a tummy tuck surgery, there's really two candidates who get it: massive weight loss due to diet, exercise, and just general lifestyle change, and massive weight loss due to pregnancy. If you're a woman and you have a child, there's a chance that your abs could split on the inside when you give birth. Those sorts of tummy tucks not only address the loose skin and can address the lipo, which is really included in an abdominoplasty. They do it anyway while you're in there, but it requires resuturing of the abdominal muscles, which I can only imagine how painful that was. I haven't had a painkiller today. I was prescribed up to 8 Percocet spread out evenly throughout the day in 6-hour intervals. I haven't taken one since yesterday. I've been able to stand up relatively straight since day 3. I've been sleeping in bed since day 4. I would not be able to do that if I had the traditional tummy tuck with muscle repair. So what you're seeing right now at day 7, especially if you're a woman who's getting the procedure done after having had a child, you're not going to be able to stand up straight like this. I have had very little issue moving around because I'm used to doing squats. Just having that position maintained doesn't really affect me. So even walking like hunched over with a straight back like this on a walker, I was still able to exercise some of my muscles without feeling like I was constantly in pain back here or in here. So if this was tight, no way right now. I would rate that as excruciating. My overall experience, I would put this at I would put it on a 4 on the pain scale. That was it for me. Your results are going to vary. I've also read testimonials and people's reviews on Real Self from men. Great resource if you haven't been on there in the off chance that you haven't stumbled on it. When you filter it, especially, I'm going to talk to the men now, when you filter it, people do have different interpretations of the pain. Some people can have seromas, hematomas, and complications that make their situation really painful. I don't think I'm going to have an issue with a seroma or a hematoma. I've drained less than maybe 80 milliliters in the last week through my drains, and now they're pretty much just running dry, and this is a much more manageable level of swelling. I don't think I'm going to have any issues at this point when I get the tubes pulled, which is tomorrow, but you never know. Just something to consider. What did it do for me? It lifted all this. It did lift my thighs, and it did lift the pubic area to a noticeable extent. It's not gonna, the first day when I was out, when everything was super swollen, everything was pulled up tight, and everything was really, really defined in that crux. It's tapered off a little bit since everything is stretched out. But again, I'm still really swollen right now. It's kind of hard to tell. I'll see if I can show you a little bit. Normally, the width of my thigh is just about the width of my waist, to give you some perspective. Things that I noticed up here: I didn't get anything done with breast reduction or lipo. I've noticed that, so can't really do it here. Can't really stretch out a whole lot. Oh. So yeah, I can't really stretch out here and show. Maybe this. Okay. So I can get more striation out of, or I can see more of, I guess, their striations in the pecs. I got a little bit of lift in the pecs. You can still pull them a little bit. But before this, and I'll show you in a second, it was worse, and I'll show you using calipers. So I pulled this up. I used to have a little bit of bunching, more bunching now, kind of towards this area. That was resolved. Obviously, all of this was pulled in. The pulled down. What I was really impressed with the surgeon, and I'm going to put his information up here. What I was really impressed with the surgeon, he didn't overpromise, but there was definitely a V pulling effect. if you consider that you're pulling the skin straight down, you want to have some sort of taper. You want to sort of accentuate where your hips come in, and that's kind of the aesthetic. So the doctor, the surgeon that I used, he didn't overpromise it. He said I would see a little effect. I think I'm going to see pretty decent effect even with the swelling now. Right now, like I said, the swelling's still up to here. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is still loss of sensation, that sort of thing. The belly button. I'm really happy that he was able to do this. When you do a tummy tuck surgery, the first thing they do is they mark you for the geometries that you're trying to achieve. If you're a man or a woman, you're going to have different, a different shape you're trying to conform your body to, using what you have naturally. I was marked up a lot of different geometries. You go under, they cut open the main incision line, and they actually have to unpin the belly button. The belly button is anchored into your body. I want to just make sure I say that again. The belly button is anchored into the body, which was a big thing for me. I wanted to be able to see my belly button, and I wanted to get more definition, hopefully definition, or be able to achieve definition in the future of my midsection. There was so much sag here. It was like, you'll see it in a second. It was an eyelid slit. Oh yeah, you'll see it. You'll see it right now. It was an eyelid slit. Once you separate this right here, you have to go in and you have to reach under and you have to trim the belly button. You have to cut out the belly button, and then you have to pull the skin down. If you get lucky, you'll have enough loose skin where this mark will actually stretch over your incision line. So when you go to cut off that excess and suture together, you won't see where your old belly button was. And this is all sutured from the inside. This is really not going to be noticeable. It's only noticeable because it's still bruised and the incision is healing. Obviously, it's been a week. This is really not going to be noticeable. What I'm really thankful my surgeon did, he listened to what I was trying to accomplish, but he also did a tremendous job in the surgery itself. And even with the swelling, even without the final result, I can tell I'm going to be really happy just from what I've seen so far with the definition that I've just been hoping for. What he did for me. This surgical line is pretty darn symmetric. You're pulling a lot of skin. You don't know how the laxity is gonna affect things. This is also unequal swelling. My one side was aspirating, if that's the right word, fluid, at a much higher rate than the other. So I'm still unevenly swollen right now, but I can tell that my belly button is right on line. The symmetry of the scar is good. The extension that he was able to perform when you're on your back, what dictates whether or not the surgeon's going to be able to do this for you is if you have the loose skin to justify it. But they lipo you, and that increases the amount of loose skin there even more. And then they pinch this area while you're on your back and have to perform the surgery kind of from your side. That's why you can't really do a full 360 in one sitting, is because you can't be on your stomach right after the incision for them to do your back, or vice versa. Doing this, I wasn't happy with the way that my back looked. This increased the tightness through my butt, down through my hamstrings. Yeah, I can definitely see it. This was an added bonus that I wasn't expecting. So yeah, if you can, if you think you have laxity in the back, I would recommend trying to get as much done as possible, or trying to get yourself with as much loose skin as possible, so you can try to get those sides removed in one fell swoop, because you don't want to have to do this twice, and it costs money, and it's really the same cost for a standard versus a mini versus an extended tummy tuck. So, on to the next shots.